Chapter 6. What can they do now? Joe, Moonface, Silky and Saucepan sat down by the hole and thought hard. Silky began to cry. The Saucepan Man looked most uncomfortable. He was very fond of Silky. "Silky, please do forgive me for being so careless," he said in a small voice. "I didn't mean to do this. Don't cry. You make me feel dreadful." "It's all right," sobbed Silky, borrowing Moonface's handkerchief. "I know you didn't mean to, but I can't help feeling sad when I think I won't ever be able to see my dear little room in the Faraway Tree any more." Saucepan Man began to cry too. Tears dripped with a big splash onto his saucepans and kettles, and he put his arm around Silky, and 2 or 3 kettle spouts stuck into her. "Don't," she said. "You're sticking to me." "Moonface, Joe, can't you think of something to do? Can we possibly squeeze down if we hold our breath and make ourselves as small as we can?" "Quite impossible," said Moonface gloomily. "Listen, there's somebody coming up the ladder." They heard voices, and soon a head popped up through the hole in the cloud. It was Rick's. He stared in surprise at the 4 enormous people sitting by the hole. He climbed up and stood beside them, looking very, very small. Then up came Beth with Frannie. Their eyes nearly fell out of their heads when they saw how big Joe and his friends were. "What's happened?" cried Rick. "We got worried because you didn't come home." "Joe, we climbed up to see where you were, but why are you so enormous?" Joe told them. "A Silky snob into Moonface's hanky." Beth put her arm round her. It was funny to feel Silky so very big. Beth's arm only went halfway round Silky's waist. "And now, you see, we can't get back down the hole," said Joe. "I know what you can do," said Rick suddenly. "What?" cried everyone hopefully. "Well, rub the hole with the spell and it'll get bigger, of course," said Rick. "Then you'll be able to get down." "Why ever didn't we think of that before?" said Joe. Jumping up, Saucepan, "Where's the can with the spell in?" He picked up the can. But oh, it was completely empty. Every single drop had been spilt when Saucepan fell over. "Well, never mind," said Moonface, cheering up a little bit. "We can go and buy some more from that goblin. Come on." They all set off, Rick, Beth and Frannie, looking very small indeed next to the others. They went up to the goblin who had sold them the spell. "Please, can we have another can of that spell you sold to us?" asked Moonface, holding out the empty can. "Don't have a drop left," said the goblin, "and I can't make any more till the full moon comes. It can only be made in the moonlight." Everyone looked so miserable that the goblin felt sorry for them. "Why do you look so unhappy?" he said. "What on the earth has happened?" Joe told him everything. The goblin listened with interest and he smiled. "Well, my dear," he said, "if you can't get a spell to make the hole bigger, why don't you buy a spell to make yourself small? My brother, the green goblin over there, sells that kind of spell. Only be careful not to put too much on yourselves, or you may go smaller than you mean to." They went over to the green goblin. He was yelling at the top of his voice, "Buy my wonderful and most amazing spell. It will make you anything as small as you like. Do you have any enemy? Dab it with this and see him shrink to the size of a mouse. Is your nose too big? Dab it with this and make it the right size. Oh, wonderful, astonishing, amazing. Everyone hurried up. Moonface took some money out of his bag. I'll have the spell, please, he said. The Green Goblin gave him a can. The spell in it looked rather like paint, just as the other one had done. Now go slow, said the Goblin. You don't want to get too small. Try a little tiny bit at a time. Moonface dabbed a little on Silky, and she went a bit smaller all at once. He dabbed again. She went smaller still. Is she the right size yet? Said Moonface. Everyone stared at Silky. Not quite, said Beth, but she is almost. So be careful with your next dab, Moonface. Moonface was very careful. At the next dab of the spell, Silky went exactly to her right size. She was so pleased. Now you, Joe, said Moonface. So he dabbed Joe and got Joe back to his right size again too. Then he tried dabbing the saucepan man, and soon as he got him right, the kettle and saucepans, they all went right too. It was funny to watch them. Now I'll do you, Moonface, said Joe. No thanks, I'll do myself, said Moonface. He dabbed the spell on himself and shrank smaller. He dabbed again and went smaller still. Then he stopped dabbing and put the brush down. You're not quite your ordinary size yet, said Joe. I know, said Moonface, but I always thought I was a bit on the short side, so I'm just about right now. I always wanted to be a little bit taller. I shan't dab myself any more. Everyone laughed. It was funny to see Moonface a little bit taller than usual. As they stood there and laughed, a curious cold wind began to blow. Moonface looked all around and then began to shout, Quick, quick, quick! The land of spells is on the move! Hurry, before we get left behind! Everyone got a shock. Wow, it would never do to be left behind, just as everyone had got small enough to go down the hole in the clouds. They set off for the hole. The wind blew more strongly. Suddenly the sun went out. It was as if somebody had blown it out. At once darkness fell on the land of spells. Hold hands! Hold hands! Cried Joe. We'll lose one another if we don't. They all took hold of one another's hands and called out their names to make sure everyone was there. They stumbled on through the darkness. Here's the hole, cried Joe. At last! And now we need to get down. And down he went. He felt the ladder, climbed down that too, and the others followed one by one, pushing close behind in the dark, longing to get down to the Faraway Tree they all knew so well. How lovely it would be to sit in Moonface's room and feel safe. But down at the bottom of the ladder there was no sign of the Faraway Tree. Instead, to Joe's surprise, there was a narrow passage, lit by a swinging green lantern. Oh my goodness, he said to the others, what's this? Where's the Faraway Tree? We've come down the wrong hole, groaned Moonface. Oh goodness, what bad luck. Well, where are we? Asked Rick in wonder. I don't know, said Moonface. We better follow this passage and see where it leads to. It's no use climbing back up, trying to find the right hole. We'd never get there in the dark, and anyway, I'm pretty sure the land of spells has moved on now. Everyone felt miserable. Joe led the way down the passage. It twisted and turned, went up and went down steps. It was lit here and there by green swinging lanterns from the roof. At last, they came to a big yellow door. On it was a blue knocker, a blue bell, and a blue mailbox, and a blue notice that said, Mr. Changeabout, knock once, ring twice, rattle the mailbox. Joe knocked once very loudly. Then he rang twice, ding, ding, and everyone heard the bell, ring, ring. Then he rattled the mailbox. The door didn't open. It completely disappeared. It was so peculiar. One minute it was there, and the next it gone, and there was nothing in front of them. They could see right into a big underground room. At the end of it, by a roaring fire, sat a round, fat person. "That must be Mr. Changeabout," Rick whispered. "Dare we go in?" That's the end of that chapter. The next chapter is called Mr. Changeabout and the Enchanter. See you tomorrow. Bye.